Hello, welcome to next session. In this session, we will solve grade 9 axis solid mechanics paper. Question 1 to question 8 carry 1 mark. Okay. Question 1 is a small spherical ball fails at a normal load of 10 kilonewton under the arrangement as shown below. The vertical force F required to crush the ball is option A 11.6 kilonewton, option B 6 kilonewton, option C 3.5 kilonewton, option D 3.1 kilonewton. Here the load F is being applied. Okay, that is vertically downward. Okay, and this dimension is 100 mm and this dimension is 30 mm and this angle is 30. Okay, now the normal load required to crush the ball is 10 kilonewton. So this is the normal load. Okay, normal load and this is normal reaction. Okay, so that is 10 kilonewton. Now if we take moment about hinge, then here Rn should be 10 kilonewton. Okay, so taking moment about hinge, F cos 15, that component will create moment about hinge point. F cos 15 into 100 minus Rn into 30. Okay, so F comes out as 3.1 kilonewton. Okay, next, a projectile is fired from a point P at an angle of 45 degree with the horizontal, as shown below. If g is the acceleration due to gravity, then the speed required to reach a point Q laying on the horizontal surface at a distance r from point P is the point P, and this is the r distance. This is the touching when the projectile touches the ground. Okay, the options are root rg by 2, B root rg, C 2 root rg, D 3 root rg. Okay, let V be the initial speed. Okay, then vertical component will take it to topmost position and then it will bring it to bottommost position. So T is the time travel during see the time taken from bottom to top, and same time at the same time it will come from top to bottom. Okay, so first of all we will find out the time by using vertical component. Okay, so By is V sin 45 vertical component. Okay, and acceleration due to gravity is G. Okay, and final velocity at the topmost point is 0. So using V minus U by 80 is, we will find out T. So T V sin 45 by G. Okay. Now the total time is 2T. So it is 2V sin 45 by G. Now the horizontal component of velocity, that will remain constant because uh, it is at in this component there is no acceleration due to gravity. Okay. Or no acceleration or retardation. Okay. So it is Vx cos Vx is equal to V cos 45. So if we want to, as the projectile will remain in air for the time 2t, if we want to calculate the distance traveled by the projectile in horizontal direction, we will multiply Vx with 2t. So R will be V cos 45 into 2 into V sin 45 by G. So V is equal to root RG. Okay. Next, the state of stress at a point in a loaded body is given as sigma x plus 40 MPa, sigma y plus 60 MPa, tau xy plus 10 MPa. Some of the principal stresses at that point is, so sigma x plus sigma y is sigma x plus sigma y in any system remains constant, and it is equal in any plane will remain constant. Okay, because sigma x plus sigma y by 2 represents the distance of the center of the Mohr circle to origin of the Mohr circle, which remains constant. Okay, so this distance is also given by the sum of principal stresses by 2. So sigma 1 plus sigma 2 is equal to sigma x plus sigma y in any system will remain constant in any system. Okay, so this is 40, sigma x is 40, sigma y is 60. So sigma 1 plus sigma 2 is 100 MPa. So some of the principal stresses at that point is 100 MPa. Okay, next, A composite system of two metal bars, as shown below, is made of two dissimilar metals having area of cross-section A1 and A2, Young's moduli E1 and E2, and coefficient of thermal expansion alpha 1 and alpha 2. If the temperature of the system is raised by del T, then the resultant axial force required to be applied to rigid plates to maintain the same length is, this is metal 1, this is metal 2. Okay. Option A is E1 alpha 1 A1 plus E2 alpha 2 A2 delta T. B 1 by E1 alpha 1 A1 plus 1 by E1 E2 alpha 2 A2 inverse into delta T. Next option E1 plus E2 alpha 1 plus alpha 2 A1 plus A2 delta T. Okay. Next option E1 alpha 1 A1 divided by E2 alpha 2 A2 into delta T. Okay. So we know that free expansion of metal 1 is alpha 1 delta TL. Okay. Now the metal is not expanding. Okay. So there must be a compressive force which will bring it to which will bring it back to its initial position. Okay. This force is expansion strain into A into E. Strain into E will be stress and then A will be force. So this force is given by alpha 1 del T E1 A1. Similarly, by the free expansion of second material, we can find out F2. So the total force will be F1 plus F2 is equal to F. Okay. Next, the state of stress. So summation of these two will give option A. Okay. Next question. The state of stress at a point is shown below. Both the normal and shear stresses on a plane inclined at an angle 45 degree with the horizontal are 0. If sigma x and sigma y is equal to 100 MPa, okay, then shear stress tau xy is option A 50 MPa, option B 70 MPa, option C 100 MPa, option D 200 MPa. We know the sum of the normal stresses onto perpendicular plane is equal to sum of principal stresses. Okay, and at a plane at 45 degree to these planes, there is no shear stress. So it means it is principal plane, and there is no normal stress also. So it means the principal stress is zero at this plane. So one of the principal stress is zero. Okay, and other we can find out by using that equation. That sum of the normal stress will remain constant. Okay. So sigma 1 plus sigma 2 is 0 to sigma x plus sigma y. Sigma 2 is 200 plus 200, that is 400. Okay, sigma x and sigma y are 200. Okay, so sigma 2 is 400. Now if we know sigma 1 and sigma 2, or we know sigma 1, we can use directly the formula sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus minus, okay, 1 by 2. Okay, then we can find out tau xy. Okay, so the tau xy is 200 MPa. Okay, this is 200 MPa. Okay, next, a simply supported beam of span L and flexure rigidity EI carries a uniformly distributed load W per unit length. The deflection at the midspan of the beam is option A WL 4 by 48 EI, option B 5 by 96 WL 4 by EI, option C 5 by 384 WL 4 by EI, option D 3 by 16 WL 4 by EI. Okay, so this is a straightforward formula. Okay, so answer is C. During plastic impact of two bodies, which of the following statement is correct? Option A, both energy and momentum are conserved. B, energy is not conserved, momentum is conserved. C, energy is conserved, momentum is not conserved. D, neither energy nor momentum is conserved. Okay. Uh, in elastic collision, both energy and momentum remains conserved, whereas in plastic collision, some of the energy is used in plastic deformation. So energy is not conserved, but momentum remains conserved. Okay. Next, a disk of radius 1 meter is rolling on ground without slip, as shown below. At a certain instant, the center of disk is moving with a velocity 10 meter per second and acceleration of a is equal to 10 meter per second square. The magnitude of acceleration at point P on the disk instantaneously touching the ground is option A 0, option B 10, option C 20, and D 100. Okay, this is the point. Okay, and A is the acceleration in this direction. Okay, and P is the point touching the ground. Okay, so as the disk is rolling, so its instantaneous center is this point. Okay, so at this point, at the as center is having velocity or acceleration of 10 meter per second here. Okay, okay, 10 meter per second here, and so it is given 10 meter per second square. Okay, so and it is in the direction of motion of the or in horizontal direction. Okay, okay, so it will be due to only alpha r. Okay, so so there will be only tangential component of the extension. There will be no centripetal control component of acceleration. Okay, so at point P, radius is 0. So at point P, the acceleration of the point P will be 0. Okay, because this is the point of rotation. At the point of rotation, there will be no, okay, no acceleration. Okay, next answer is C. Next, question 9 to question 24 carry 2 marks. A block of length A and height B rests on a horizontal on a rough inclined plane. Coefficient of friction mu, as shown below. The angle alpha of the inclined plane is slowly increased. The condition that the block will topple due to its own weight before it begins to slide. A option A by B less than mu, B A by B more than mu, C A by B more than root 1 minus mu, D A by B less than root 1 minus mu. So this is the block, this is angle alpha, this is D, this is A. Okay. So now let F be the force applied. Okay. Now F be the force applied and mg is the weight of the block. So it will have, be having two components, mg cos alpha and mg sin alpha. Okay, in the direction of force. Okay, and mu rn is the normal reaction and rn is the mu rn is the frictional force and rn is the normal reaction. Now balancing the now if the block has to topple, okay, uh, in spite of sliding, okay, so it has to generate some movement about it. So taking movement about it. So F plus mg sin alpha into um, m plus mg sin alpha into b, okay, minus mg cos alpha into a, or we can say it will be b by 2, it is a by 2, okay, because it is different 2 to cancel out, okay. So mu, now f mg sin alpha is equal to mu rn, so we can put it mu rn, okay. So from this mu is a by b. So when the moment about this point is zero, then uh, a mu is a by b. Okay, but a positive moment is required to generate. Okay, if a positive movement is generated, then mu should be it should be generated. Then a mu should be more than a by b because toppling. Okay, to have because mu should be If mu is greater than this amount, then this value will be positive. And if a positive moment is generated, then it will topple. Okay. Next, a particle enters into smooth frictionless circular loop of radius r at point P as shown below. If g is the acceleration due to gravity, then the minimum speed with which the particle should enter the circular loop such that it can complete one full circular revolution. Okay, so this is the loop, and when the particle enters in this position, okay, and maintain the circular path, okay, and what should be the minimum velocity to maintain the circular path, okay. So when the particle enters, okay, so it needs, uh, when we rotate something, okay, we are providing energy to them, providing energy to it. But when we stop providing energy, then that stone or thread comes down. Okay, so if we do not once the particle enters this, okay, and we do not provide the energy, it cannot maintain circular path. Okay, so this is the concept. Okay, the energy should be constantly provided to overcome gravitational acceleration to maintain the circular loop. Okay, okay, because it will create centrifugal force also. Okay, so as soon as the particle P enters the loop, its velocity decreases. It loses the circular loop and comes down. So answer is B. It cannot maintain circular loop. So velocity should be infinite to maintain circular loop. Okay. Next, a circular cylinder of radius r and mass m starts from the top of an inclined plane and rolls down without any slip. After its center moves to a point having a vertical height as shown below, the velocity of center of mass with g as acceleration due to gravity is option A root 2g by 3, option B root 2gh by 3, option C root 4gh by 3, option D 2gh. So the concept that the potential energy is converted into kinetic energy is used here. Okay. So as the risk rolls down, it gains kinetic energy, and it is at the cost of potential energy. And when it goes down, it is rotating about the contact point. Okay, so study this. So as the disk goes down about the point of contact, so moment of inertia of the disk about the point of contact will be I plus I naught mr square. Okay. So where I naught is mr square by 2. Moment of inertia disk about the center of disk. Okay. Using parallel axis term, the moment of inertia about center and moment of inertia about the point of contact. Okay. Now the K gained by the disk will be I omega square. Okay. I is moment of inertia about the contact point, and omega is because it is rotating about when something is rolling, then it is rotating about the contact point. Okay, and omega is angular velocity. So its kinetic energy is I omega square by 2. Putting a value of I, we can have this much of kinetic energy. Okay, so the kinetic energy is 3 by 4 mr square omega square, and the potential energy loss is when it comes from this point to this point, the potential energy loss is mgh. So equating these two, we can get omega, okay, omega r is the velocity of center, okay, to be, sorry, because the disk is rotating over the point of contact, so velocity center will be omega into r, okay, that is omega is 4gh by 3 r square, or we can say it is, sorry, here it should be only omega h dh by 3. Okay. Then it should be r. answer is C, option C. Okay. Next, the road PQ whose end Q is hinged touches a semicircular cylinder at top at point P as shown below. There is no friction between cylindrical surface and rod. If the cylinder moves with a constant velocity of 10 meters per second in horizontal direction as shown, then the angular velocity omega of the rod PQ at that instant is, this is the rod PQ and this is the cylinder and it is moving with 10 meters per second scale, 10 meters per second, and the distance between uh, center and Q point is 5 meters and this radius is 1 meter. Okay, and you have to find out omega and this angle is 30. So options are 0.5, 1.15, 2 and 2.3 all are in radian per second. Okay. So as the velocity in horizontal direction is 10, so here the velocity will also be 10 meter per second. Okay. So as this velocity is 10 meter per second, so the point and as this cylinder moves, okay, the point of contact will come down. Okay, and it will go up. Okay. So this velocity will be will have two components, that dPA along PQ and V P perpendicular, what perpendicular to P. Okay, so now that this angle is 90. Okay, so V cos 60 is V perpendicular. Okay, so V perpendicular is 5 and length of PQ, this angle is 90 because it's changing. Okay, so this is a right angle triangle. So this is a right angle triangle. Okay, so this is 5, 1. Okay, and 5 is hypotenuse. So you can find out PQ, that is 25 minus 1, it will be 24. So from this, now we have this length and omega, we have this length PQ and we have VP perpendicular. So that will be equal to omega into PQ. So VP perpendicular will be omega into PQ. So omega will be 5 by root 24. Nearest option is 1. Next, an L-shaped elastic member with flexure rigidity EI is loaded as shown below. Okay, this is a L-shaped member A and B. Okay, P load is applied. Total energy in the member due to bending. These are the options: P square, B square, bracket B by 3 plus A divided by 2 E B, P square B square A by 3 plus B divided by 2 EI. C, P square A square divided by bracket B by 3 plus A divided by 3I. D, P square A square A by 3 plus B divided by 3I. Okay. So the total strain energy will be summation of the strain energy of this part. Okay, and of this part. Okay. So this can be find out. Okay, strain energy will be summation of this part and this part. So UAB will be the moment about any section will be Px in this part, AB part, okay, Px. So and x will be varying from b to 0. So Px square dx divided by 2a, and for that part CB, okay, for BC, the moment is constant, that is equal to PB. So PB square dx by 2a. Okay. You put the limit b0 and here it is b and 0, here it is b and 0. You can find out the energy. Okay, so this is the answer. Next, a simply supported beam with an overhang end is loaded as shown below. The maximum bending moment in the beam is, so this is the beam, this is supported at here and supported at here. 2 kN load is acting, uniform distributed load is acting between two ends. You have to find out the maximum bending moment. Okay, the options are 2 kN, 1 kN, and C 0.75 kN and D 0.25 kN. Okay. So now if we take moment about R, then RP into 2. Okay, RP into 2. Okay, minus 2 minus this from this part. Okay, 2 into 1 into 1 by 2. Okay. And for this part, it will be clockwise moment 2 plus 1 into 1 by 2. So RP from this will be 0. Now RP is 0. So there will be RR will be 2 into 4. Okay. 4. So there is only one vertical reaction, that is 4, that is at R. Okay. So if you draw a shape for the diagram, it will be like that from P to Q there will be 0 because there will be 0 because there is no reaction at P or there is no shear force, and Q to R it will be vertical number, and at R there will be certain increase in shear force, and at this there will be certain decrease in shear. Okay. So at point R the shear force sign is changing. So at this point the bending moment will be maximum. So we can find out by only by using either of the UDF 2 into 1 by 2. Okay, 2 into 1 by 1 to 1 is total load and 1 by 2 is center of action. So it will be 1 kilometer answer is D. Next, a body P while moving rectilinearly with velocity V naught collides directly with another body Q, which is at rest as shown below. Assuming both the bodies have same mass and the collision in elastic, and then the collision is elastic velocity of body after the collision measured positive towards right are option A. Bp is equal to minus V naught by 2, Bq is equal to V naught by 2, B Bp is equal to V naught by 2, Bq is equal to V naught by 2, C Bp is 0, Bq is V naught by 2, D Bp is 0, Bq is 0. Okay. Now we know that coefficient of restitution is difference in final velocity divided by difference in initial velocity. Okay. So here u1 is velocity of p, that is initial velocity is 0. Okay. And because it is v0, and for and u2 is 0 because q is at rest. Okay. So so putting the values here, we can find out v2 minus v1 is v0. Okay. So as the collision is elastic, so E is 1. Okay. So V naught minus V2, V2 minus V1 is V naught. Okay. So momentum is conserved in elastic collision. So M1 U1 plus M2 U2, total initial momentum. You will go total final momentum, and M1 is equal to M2. So U1 plus U2 will be V1 plus V2 plus V1. Now U2 is 0 and U1 is V naught. So V naught is equal to V2 plus V1. So this is equation number 2. This is that equation number 1 is V2 minus V1 is equal to V naught. So by solving this equation, we can find out V2 is equal to V naught and V1 is 0. So V2 is the final velocity of Q, that is V naught, and V1 is final velocity of P. So Vp is 0. So option B is the right answer. Okay. Next, a stepped circular shaft fixed at one end is subjected to two axial forces as shown below. The maximum tensile stress on the shaft is, so this is a shaft, 300 kN load is acting here, and 200 kN load is acting here. So diameter is 50 mm, this diameter is 100 mm. Okay, so in the part, so consider divided in two parts. This is first part, and second part. So in part one, the force acting is 300 kilonewton. So we'll find out stress according to that, and diameter is 50 mm. So 300 into 1000 divided by 4 into 50 square, 152.78. Okay, and in second part, the total load will be 300 plus 200, 500, and diameter is 100 mm. So find out stress according to that 500 into 1000 divided by 4 into 100 square. So it comes out at 63.66. So the maximum stress is in first part, that is 3.63. Okay. Next, A thin string of negligible mass with one end fixed be, to the roof is wound around a circular disc of radius 2 meters and mass 10 kg as shown below. The disc rolls vertically downward under the action of its own weight, considering the acceleration due to gravity as 10 meters per second square, and the tension in the string is option A 0, option B 250, option C 33.3, option D 50. Okay. So now as the as this circular disc is moving downward, okay, and it is getting unbounded, okay. So this disc is rolling about this, okay, this point A, contact point, okay. So suppose omega is its angular velocity and its weight at any instant, okay. So and T will be tension in the string, okay. So now it is rotating about this, rotating like this. Okay, the inertia torque will act in direction opposite to that I alpha. Okay, now take as a point of rotation is A. Now take note A. So I alpha mg into r minus mg into r will be the moment about A. So from this, and we know that I the moment of inertia about of disk about point A. So it will be I naught plus mr square. I naught is mr square by 2. So it will be 2 by 2 mr square. Okay. Now putting the value of I, we can find out alpha. So that is g by 3. Okay. So angular acceleration is g by 3. We have to find out tension in spring. Now once alpha is known, so then the acceleration of the midpoint will be alpha into r. Okay. Alpha into r. Okay. R is 2. So, and alpha is 0 3. Okay. Now we can assume an inertia force. Now this point is having the acceleration downward and it is equal to 2 g by 3. So inertia force will act in upward direction. Now balancing, initially we balance the moment. Okay, now we balance the forces. Now mg is acting downward and m inertia force is acting upward and t is in upward direction. So t plus ma is equal to mg. Now the value of A is known. Okay. And so we can have a value of M is also known. And G we have to take 10. So putting these values, we can find out P as 33.3. So option C is the answer. Okay. Next. A spring mass system executes simple harmonic motion in vertical direction given by equation this. D square y by dt square plus omega square y is equal to 0. The correct relation, including sense, between acceleration alpha and velocity v of the body is graphically represented by. So this is first graph. Velocity is represented on x-axis and acceleration is represented on y-axis. Okay, these are the four graphs. Okay, and sense is also given. Okay, so now we know the in simple harmonic equation, the equation displacement is y is equal to y naught sin omega t. Okay. Now if we differentiate it, we get velocity. Okay, that will be y naught omega cos omega t. Okay, so that is equation number 2. Okay. Now the when omega t is 90. Okay. Then omega t is 90. The velocity will be 0. And when omega t is 0, the velocity will be maximum and will be positive. So if we compare it with the graph, so it will be because v is drawn and on x-axis, so it will be having positive maximum velocity. Okay, so it is in both the case when theta is 0, with positive maximum velocity. And Acceleration is given by double differentiation. Okay, minus y naught omega sin omega t. Okay, sin omega t. When we put theta is equal to 0, it will be 0. So v is 0 and v is maximum and a is 0 here. Okay. Now if we put theta is equal to 90, okay, if we put theta is equal to 90, we get minus y naught omega square. Okay. So if the sense is like that, okay, then theta will come, theta 90 will come this. Okay. Okay. Theta 90 will come this. So the acceleration is will be having minimum value or minimum and maximum value, and its sign is negative. Okay, add I by 2 is having minus y dot omega square. Okay, so when the sense is this and this is 0, then this will be 90 and A will be negative maximum and B will be 0. So answer is A. Now we have assumed that the equation for vibration is this. Okay, this. So if we put the y dash, y double dash and y here, we get right hand side equal to left hand side, so equation is satisfied. So answer is option B. Okay. Next, common data question for question number 19 and 20. Okay. A 10 mm thick steel rectangular plate of size 100 mm into 200 mm is subjected to biaxial stresses. Sigma x is equal to 150 and K sigma y is equal to 200 MPa as shown below. Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio are 200 GPa and 0.3 respectively. Sigma x is 150 and K sigma y is 200 MPa. Okay, the figure is given 200 mm and 100 mm. Okay, the change in thickness of the plate, option A 2.39 micrometer, B 5.25 micrometer, C 7.12 micrometer, D 9.16 micrometer. Okay. Second, the change in surface area of the plate, option A 9.72 mm square, option B 13.61 mm square, C 17.52 mm square, and 24.5 mm square. Okay. Now, in the first 19th question, we have to find out the change in thickness of the plate, or the thickness is in this can be length, this can be width, and thickness is in z direction. So we have to find out the strain in z direction, and the strain in z direction is minus mu x, because sigma x and sigma y are cancelled, so it will be minus mu x by e minus mu y by e. Okay. Now putting the value sigma x is equal to 50 and sigma y is equal to 200. Okay, we can find out strain. Okay. So now if the P is given P 10 mm, if we put value of P at 10 mm, okay, delta T will be 5.25 micrometer. Okay. Now change in surface area of the plate. Okay. To find out this is the surface area. Initial the surface area is 200 to 100. Okay. Now we will find out the change in 200 dimension and change in 100 dimension, and we will calculate new surface area and then find out change in surface area. Okay, so strain in x direction will be sigma x by e minus mu sigma y by e. Okay, putting the values. Okay, we will get delta x by x, and change in delta x will be 0.045. Similarly, we can get change in y. Okay, change in y will be 0.155, and mu x will be initial x plus delta x. Okay, and mu y will be initial x plus delta y. Okay, so changes and new area will be mu x into mu y. Okay, so change in area will be difference of 2. Okay, that will be 24.5, or the answer is the answer. Okay, next, common data question for 21 and 22. Okay, A solid circular shaft of 50 mm diameter fixed at one end is subjected to torque as shown below. Shearing modulus of material is 80 GPa. Okay, two questions. The maximum shear stress due to torsion in length PQ. This is length PQ. Okay, here 500 Newton is acting. Here 250 Newton is acting. The length, this length is 500, this length is 500, this length is 250. So this is PQ and PQ, R and S. The rotation of the free end S due to torsion. These are rotated 0.25, 0.58, 1.22 and 1.25. All are in degrees. Okay. Now, first we have to calculate the torque in each portion. Okay. Now this is clockwise. Okay, this is also clockwise. So the fixing torque will be in opposite direction. That will be equal to summation of these two. Okay, that will be 750. Okay, so here it will be 750 clockwise. Here 500 clockwise. Sorry, here 750 anti-clockwise, 500 clockwise, 250 clockwise. Okay. So resisting torque will be 750 Newton meters. So now take portion PQ. So here we place 750 and we have to place 750 here and the position to balance this. So we cannot apply this, so we have to apply this. So this will transfer to next part. So this will be 750 and here already 750 is being applied. So if 500 is being applied, so difference in the two is will be 250 in this direction. So we have and already anti-gravity torque has been applied here. So this will be subject, this portion PQ will be subjected to the torque of 750 and portion QR will be subjected to the torque of 250. Okay. Now, now we can find out the stress in these two portions by using torsion equation in the portion PQ. The stress is P by 16 where pi ratio P is 750. So we can find out uh, stress by putting the value of D and D is 50 mm. Okay. So next is we have to find out the rotation of S that we can find out by using angle of twist formula. Now as we are in series, so and subjected to different torque and the angle of twist will be theta ps will be summation of the angle of twist in three portions with their sign because all the torque are in same direction, that is in clockwise direction. So the sign will be positive for this. Okay, but at in portion theta in RS there is no torque, so theta RS will be 0, and theta QR in the portion QR there is 250 Newton torque. So theta QR will be calculated. Theta QR will be calculated according to torque in QR, that is P by J, G theta by L. Okay, so this is theta QR. Similarly, theta PQ will be determined according to 750. Now, when we found out two, okay, we can add them. Okay, to find out total angle of twist. So answer is C. So B. Okay, it will be in radian. Okay, so we have to convert in radian. Next question. 23rd and 24th question, they are linked questions. Okay. A body of mass 0.1 kg is dropped from a height of 10 meter above a spring of thickness 500 Newton per meter as shown below. The spring is initially uncompressed natural state. Okay, the impact is without any energy loss and the body gets attached to the spring. The acceleration due to gravity is 10 meter per second square. Okay, this is spring. Okay, this is the mass m 1.1 kg. This is height 10 meters and stiffness of spring is 500. The maximum compression of the spring is option A 2, option B 20.2, option C 202.2, 202.0. Okay, option D 2020 mm. Okay, question 21. In the and using simple harmonic motion of the body, the magnitude of the maximum acceleration. A 100 meter per second square, B 200 meter per second square, C 500 meter per second square, D 1000 meter per second square. Okay, so here the mass m is falling from a height 10 meters. Okay, so to find out the maximum compression, we have to use the fact that the potential energy lost by the mass is equal to the potential energy gained by the spring. Okay. So the potential energy loss, if x is a deflection, then the potential energy lost by the mass is mg h plus x, and the potential energy gained by spring is half kx square. Okay. The putting the value m, g, and k, we can find out. We can form a quadratic equation, and then we can solve this quadratic equation. Quadratic equation. So x will be 0.202 meter, or it will be 202 mm. Okay, so option will be C. Okay. Now, in the second part, we have to calculate the magnitude of maximum acceleration. Okay. Okay. First of all, we have to find out the mean position. Okay. After which, about which the spring vibrates, then a mass of 0.1 kg is placed is on the spring. Okay. So the mean position of the spring will be calculated by using that weight and calculating static deflection. Okay. So W by K is, we know that concept that the energy lost by the spring and energy lost by the weight is equal to energy gained by spring, because that will provide the maximum deflection of spring. Okay. But uh, when we place the mass steadily, okay, then we get mean position. Okay, so that is reflection of the spring. Okay, so this is the mean position we have indicated. So it indicates the mean position. Okay, so the natural frequency is k by m. Okay, that is 70.7. So 70.7 meters per second. So to mean position and maximum position is that we have calculated in the last article that 2. So the now we know that the acceleration is omega square into displacement of the spring mass system on the mean position. Okay. Now the difference between the maximum position and mean position is x minus xm. Okay. So omega is 70 plus 77.7 square. Okay. Putting this, we can get 1000 meter per second square. Option B. Okay. Thank you.